Welcome to another episode of Paranormal the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to make the world seem a little more normal. Will I succeed in this? Barely ever, but we try. And as always, I brought a guest to help me do it because it's more fun to try to find normalcy in this world with somebody else. And my guest today is M.K. McDaniel, author and experiencer, but as her friends call her, Kathy, which that's how we'll refer to her this episode. How you doing tonight, Kathy?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. How about you?
Doing okay. For all my listeners, just know this is the first time I've done a podcast this week, so I got a job. We'll see how it goes, but I got a job. But you all start subscribing, and I don't have to work. Just saying, but just putting that out in the universe. But Kathy, the first thing I like to ask everybody on this show is, what got you into the paranormal, supernatural, spiritual world?
Wow. I was born and bred as a Catholic, right from, I think we call them cradle Catholics. So right from the get-go, I knew I had a guardian angel, and I had to say a prayer every night, angel of God, my guardian dear, that one. And so I believe that. And then I believe that Jesus was my friend. So I can remember in grade school, we moved around a lot. My dad was in the Navy, and I was always the new kid. I remember this one time, I don't know what grade I was in, like second or third or something, and nobody would talk to me. Nobody would play with me. So I said, okay, Jesus, we're going to play tag. So here it is at break time. We're all out on the playground, and I'm running around yelling, tag, you're it, to somebody nobody else could see. So that didn't endear me to the other kids, but I always felt like, the other side was just real.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was brought up Christian. I always had the same type of, I was a very astute, student of the Bible, and I was loved in my church for the most part because I participated in everything I could. And then you get to be a teenager and you start questioning everything, and it doesn't seem the same anymore. That's just the way it went for me, at least. But I mean, I think it goes that way for a lot of people. Like, once you start thinking for yourself as a teenager, when your parents aren't ruling your life every day, you just start going a little astray from what you're taught, and you want to rebel. You don't want to be like your parents. You want to be different. So, I mean, at least that was my experience, and from what I've heard, that's a lot of people's experiences. But yeah, I mean, the other side, to this day, I still believe that there's something out there on the other side, whether it's an actual God with a capital G, I don't know. I don't like to put names on things these days because I don't want to get it wrong and then not go somewhere because I got it wrong. But,
it doesn't work that way.
Well, supposedly, but then again, none of us really know how it works, and that's kind of the interesting part of it all. Is, I mean, yes, there are plenty of people who have said this is the way it works. I've been told that's the way it works, but I've heard conflicting things from other people. But I think we're going to get into that in a little bit anyway. And hello, Anthony. Glad to see you watching. Anthony was just on last Thursday or Friday on my show. But
cool.
So the second question I asked everybody, and I think this is where we're really going to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any experiences yourself?
I had a near-death experience. It's called a distressing near-death experience, and that was 23 years ago. I was 53 years old, and I was taking care of a friend, helping him out to get a stem cell transplant, and it took about 8 or 9 months of day and night stuff with just one other caregiver. We were in the hospital and in and out and in and out. And anyway, he died. And I was a complete wreck after that. And I caught the flu that was going around, and that went into something called ARDS, which is lung failure. So I ended up in the hospital and in an oxygen tent. And they said I had a 38% chance of making it, and they were going to stick me in a drug-induced coma. And my family was there, and there was no choice. I mean, it was that or die. So I went into the coma. And the last thing the doctor said to me was, we're going to give you something called white amnesia. And it's kind of like take your brain offline and you will be unable to remember anything that happens to you. Okay. So that's not what happened. I woke up, I became conscious in a dark place with no sound, and I had no idea where I was or what was happening. And I thought, well, I don't know if I'm standing up or sitting down or what. So I just hung out. But then it started to change. I saw this reddish glow and some fog, and it started smelling really bad, and it got too hot. And then some voice just came out that said, do you know where you are? And I was pretty freaked out. And I thought, the only thing I can come up with is hell. And then the voice just went, wah. Well, I turned to the left and I ran into the darkness because I thought I'm in a really bad place here. Well, it turned into quite an adventure. When you read the book, it's all pretty well spelled out, but I did run into demons. I ran into really bad situations. I ran into painful situations. And by the time I got out, I was like, you take a little balloon and when you're going to go get some helium in it, and then you turn on the machine and that little flat balloon goes whoosh. I did a whoosh, and I was completely filled with, in this warm, beautiful light with joy and bliss and happiness, and just nothing else mattered. I mean, I was just love. I was just in just part of all this love and joy. And then as things kind of settled out, I saw my friend who had died the month before, you know, the one I was taking care of, and he died of leukemia and looked pretty ratty when he died, but he looked great, you know, and he was laughing, and he had this look on his face like, I know something you don't know. We used to play tricks on each other all the time. So I thought to myself, he doesn't know he's dead. And I'm not going to be the one to tell him, because I still felt alive. And he started laughing. And then I remembered he'd showed me something in this great big book. It was open about halfway, and I couldn't remember what it was, but I remember seeing the book. And then he says, Mary Kay, you got too much left to do. And I thought, oh my, they're throwing me out? And I said, no, absolutely no, 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 no. But I was sent back, and I wake up in the hospital and it's a mess. My body's a mess. My family's there. And all I can think about is the demons and the hell thing, and then being in heaven, and then being sent back. And understandably, it took me 23 years to really feel comfortable with what I have learned from blessedly running into, it took 10 years to find another group. It's called IANDS, the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And it's full of really cool dead people, formerly dead people. And we all, you know, it's international, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and they all kind of got together and says, you know, what did you experience? And it's so similar, no matter where people are around the world that never met each other, couldn't put these stories together, that it just happened to them. And it's all amazingly similar. The thing about hell is that I learned that I manifested it. My whole life as a Catholic, I was taught when I died, I'd go to purgatory. That was just the way it was. Nobody went straight to heaven. Maybe Mother Teresa, but the rest of us had to go to this purgatory, which was like hell, except you got out. So when I died, I made one, because there isn't a real one. And again, if you want to, I'll just jump in and tell you how I feel about things. I've learned too that we plan our lives. We all start off in heaven. Our souls, who we are. This body is not who we are. Our mind is not who we are. It's our soul is who we are. We start off in heaven. We want to come to earth. We want to learn stuff. because in heaven you're perfect, and this is school. Earth is school, and you choose your soulmates, and you choose your who's going to be your family members and friends, and come down and learn stuff. And then when you die, you go back. You go back home, and there's no judgment. God is all loving and forgiving and never judges anybody, never condemns anybody. But you do get a life review, and that's not a free pass. It's like this. They say it's kind of like one of those big screen things, and you get to see every second of your life. And then it's what you're doing is you're just saying, how'd I do? You know, this is what I wanted to learn. I went to Earth. How'd I do? You know, I did pretty good here, screwed up over here. Oh, well. Then they turn it around, and that's when it gets interesting, and you actually can feel and relate to every single person in every instance in your life. So that if you were kind and nice to somebody, you get to feel how that felt. If you were schmucky to somebody, you get to feel how the pain felt for them. And it's not a judgment. It's just an understanding. So that's kind of an overview.
Interesting. I mean, a lot to touch on right there. But I mean, first off, that's what I've been told by a lot of people is that like a lot of mediums and psychics tell me that when they talk to people on the other side that our minds kind of create where we go after we die, like what it's going to look like, what it's going to be like. Our minds create it based on what we believe. So, I mean, if you believe in Egyptian gods and that you're going to be having your heart weighed on a scale against a feather, that's what you're going to see. But it's kind of like it's kind of like making your own TV show, honestly, from what I've been told. And I kind of believe it because, I mean, why wouldn't it be like that? Why wouldn't whatever is out there, whether it be a deity or a extraterrestrial species, like why wouldn't they make it be whatever we want it to be to make us more comfortable? Because I think even if we're in a hell that our mind thinks that is where we go, that's more comfortable than ending up somewhere where we don't expect to go, because we at least expect it's something we kind of plan for our whole lives. I mean, I've been saying if there's a hell, I'm going to it for 20 years. So it's just like
Then you will. Then you will, Jeremy, because you manifest what you believe. What I came back for is to tell people to skip the trip. God isn't going to condemn you. So if you want to get condemned, you got to do it yourself. And it's not fun. I would not put that 20-year thing on it because you'll manifest it, and you don't need to. You don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays my thoughts are a little different. I mean,
I hope so.
my wife still tells me I'm going to hell every once in a while, but other than that, I mean, I don't know. I have a personal belief now that when we die, we go to a waiting room where our spirits are basically waiting to come back to another human body. And
you get to choose. You get to do that, but when you know, I love to say to atheists, you've got a really pleasant surprise coming. It doesn't matter what, I tell people, but I've experienced it, and I know a lot of people who have experienced it. So you go back home. Home is being reunited to source, spirit, whatever. And you do get to endless times come back and be an alien if you want to be somebody in another planet. It's all good. It's not a bad thing. Earth is a tough gig. I mean, they say that's the roughest place to go. This is a really dense, negative kind of environment, but people come down here to learn things and especially if you've planned stuff. I love the fact that I plan things because I used to feel like a victim. I used to get mad at God when really bad stuff happened to me. I would just, say, hey, man, I prayed and you didn't listen. Were you deaf or what? I didn't like that. But now that I know I plan this stuff, I have to say, gee, I didn't plan. I planned that. I don't like it, but what am I supposed to learn? Okay, patience, maybe, forgiveness, maybe. That's what I was told when I came back. All you got to know about to be on this planet is to be loving, kind, merciful, forgiving, encouraging, grateful, non-judgmental, and useful. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but that was emblazoned on my soul, and I can say it anytime I want. But, if you can't remember all that stuff, loving and kind, that's what we're here to learn, how to love.
I 100% love that statement right there, because I mean, and I am not, for the record, my listeners know this, but I am not an atheist by any means. I was in my late teens, early 20s, because why not? But I now classify myself as agnostic, because I don't know what to believe. I believe something's out there, but I don't know what the heck to call it. I don't know what to believe it is, what to believe happens. Like, so I've been told a lot of different things by a lot of different people on this show. So until I experience something myself, I don't know what to believe. I mean,
Well, that's true. That's true.
if I
You have
pass
to
on
take
and
it on
I and
faith, that faith thing. That sucks, faith. You wanna know for sure, So I feel like I know for sure for me now, and
yeah,
I know a lot of people that do. The toughest part for people that are real religious, or taught from an early age, this is the way it is. It's that deconstruction. It's that getting away and not feeling guilty, and it's really tough. But I would say almost all people that come back from the other side are spiritual, not religious anymore. There's too many
yes,
man-made rules in religion that just you get over there and it just doesn't compute. So
I I agree 100%. I've talked about it a lot in this show, with people, how religion has been changed dramatically by men. I mean, and well, actually, let me get through some comments before we go on here. Thank you, Josh, for watching. If you're still watching, I appreciate you being here as always. And Josh did say his heart goes out to you for
oh, thank
when
you.
you're telling your story. So just want to make sure I show that one. But I mean, and of course, you're not the first NDE experiencer I've had in this show,
Okay,
because
good.
why would I? Why would it be? And I mean, you're the second one though who said they went to hell and experienced hell before they came back. But I've had other ones where they say they, I mean, they were brain dead on the table basically in the hospital, and they were in a dark room and the door opened and there was a huge light through the door, and basically he said a figure appeared in the door. He couldn't see it, but it would look like a shadow. But he talked to that figure for 3 days about whether or not he should go back to Earth. And I mean, I don't know. He was also he was a Catholic as well. It seems like a lot. Seems like a lot of people that NDE were
I'm
Catholic.
saying about
I'm just saying,
85% of the people I run into that have this are Catholics. Yeah.
which is weird. I mean, there's something there. I don't
Well,
know.
it makes sense though, coming from that faith, about knowing you're going to go to purgatory. I mean, there was just no ifs, ands, or buts. So if when you believe it hard enough, man, you manifest that stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, I am a true believer in manifestation, because I told myself for the last month, all February, I told I lost my job February 3rd. I told myself from that night on, I kept telling myself, you're going to find a job. You're going to find a new job and you're going to do great at it. Because there's one thing I've learned doing this show, it's that you manifest what you want to manifest. And you just, if you believe something hard enough, then it could possibly come true. You put things
Yeah,
out to the universe may answer you back. So,
right. Got to be
and I mean,
careful. You got to be real careful of your words and self-talk, to say, oh, I'm just such an idiot, or, oh, I'm so forgetful. No, you've got to forgive yourself a lot and say, whoops, I'm human. I made a mistake, but don't beat
see,
yourself up. That's not good.
my 8-year-old son says that all the time. If he forgets to hand in his homework or something, he'll literally like start saying like, "Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm such a." I'm like, "Don't say that. You're not. You
Mhm.
need to realize this stuff happens, and you just need to go with it. Like
Yeah.
you can hand in your homework the next day. They're not gonna like punish you for it. It's just
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like you just don't call yourself stupid, because then you're gonna make yourself stupid, because you're gonna believe it's like that.
Right. Oh,
But
that's right. You make a
it's
mistake. You made a mistake. You say to them, we can fix it. It's not the end of the world. You're a good
I
person.
mean, I honestly don't even know where he learned to do that from. I really don't. But it's just,
Mhm.
it's sad that an 8-year-old thinks he needs to do that in this day and
Yeah.
age. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was a kid, I don't think I ever said that to myself. Like, I don't think I ever did. I mean, it's different times. I think that's what it is. It's different
Yeah.
times, and the things they learn from nowadays are just, oh my God, horrible. But I mean,
It's a hard time to be a kid. Oh, We had
It is.
me. I grew up in an ideal time in the '60s. It was well, not '60s. When was it? Well, '50s, I guess. I was a kid in the '50s. And, you could get on your bike in the morning. Your mom says, be home by dinner time, in the summer. You just take off with your friends and go on your bike. Nobody was going to hurt you. It would be the worst thing. You'd come home and maybe you'd fell off your bike and your mom says, fine, shake it off, get up, put a Band-Aid on it. You'll be fine. It was just so much easier than now. Everybody's so fearful now.
Exactly. I mean, it was the same thing in the 90s when I was a kid. I mean, I literally got hit by a car on my bike one day.
Yeah.
And my mom said, well, you can still walk, can't you? Then go to the store and get some milk. Like, it's just like, I mean, yeah, it was a slow moving car. It was a slow moving car because we lived in the suburbs, but still, like, it just, like, I got hit by a car. Like, and I'm expected to just go to the store right after that and get some stuff for dinner. Like, all right, I guess. Like, I'm fine. My hand hurts a little. It's a little cut up from falling, but okay, I'll go. Like, it's just.
Yeah, the kids now are frightened of everything. They can't do anything because their parents are so fearful. It's sad.
It's true.
It's sad.
It's true. That's the way my wife is. Like, my wife thinks the worst about everything because it's just she loves to watch the news, which I tell her you shouldn't. But I mean, the news is the worst thing for anybody nowadays because it's the most depressing thing you ever watch in life. And I never watch the news since I was a teenager. I never have watched the news, like, unless she's watching it.
Yeah.
And even when she's watching, I'm half paying attention. I'm on my phone or I'm on my computer doing podcast work, or used to be doing work stuff when I worked from home. But I mean, it's just I can't watch the news. It's just too depressing and it's too one-sided always. It's always
it's negative, so negative. Why don't they show something nice on the news? The good things that are happening.
Every once in a while, I see a story about like puppies or something, and I'm like, oh, but no. Other than that, like, it's just like, it's China this, Russia, Ukraine this. It's like, oh God.
I know, it's awful. And in most of the entertainment is the same way. It's murders and mayhem and crazies, and no wonder you don't feel safe. Jeez.
Well, I mean, we actually just did a serial killer bracket on my show that released a couple weeks ago, and I will say, yeah, I mean, the world was always as dangerous as it is now, at least in the United States. But we didn't know about it. That's the difference. Like,
that's a lot of it too. I agree.
The amount of serial killers that have been in the United States for the last 50, 60 years is ridiculously, like, obscene. And it's just like, but you didn't hear about them until they got caught. Like, yes, people went missing, but they couldn't look into it like they could nowadays. Like, they didn't broadcast it like they did nowadays. Like,
we didn't.
It was just, Mrs. Smith's poor little daughter's gone missing on her way home from school. Like, and we don't know what happened. And the cops would just say, oh, she must have run away.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I
know, but you can go back to like Jack the Ripper days back in the 1900s and all that. Again, there was no news about things. Things have always been pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of violence and anger and greed, and there's a lot of that out there.
Oh,
I mean, they're fighting it all the time.
There always has been. I mean, the kings of medieval times were the most horrible people in the world, but that's just the way it was, and people accepted it. But
yeah, strong survive and all that.
But now, if a president or a king is bad, forget about it. You're going to hear about it every day on every news show for the next 20 years. Like,
and they kind of they went the other way. I mean, people are people. None of us are perfect, and people like to put other people down and to bring themselves up, and that's just not right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I personally am not a fan of that. But let me ask you this though, because so, do you think that heaven and hell are? I mean, yes, they're manifestations of our mind to some degree, but do you think those realms actually may exist in some way?
Because, I know heaven exists. I only manifested the hell. And there is probably, I talked to a lot of people about this, but there's probably a place for negative energy in the other realm where there is actual, well, if you got positive, you got to have negative. I mean, that's just the way it is. So there is negative energy, and there's probably spirits that don't want, for whatever reason, to be around the positive energy. So there may be some space someplace where they congregate. I don't know. I don't like to think about the negative stuff because it brings it to you. But the heaven thing's real. As far as I concerned, it really, I mean, source, God, even the quantum entanglement stuff they're talking about, everything is connected energy wise. There's nothing out there but energy. And what appears to be reality here, the solidness of a table or of our bodies is an illusion. We're all on a well, you get down under the molecular space, and now all you got is moving energy. So I think God, whatever you want to call source, is just all one thing. We're all part of it. We're never separated from it, really. This is just an illusion.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I'm a big believer in that there are dimensions all around us that we can't see, we can't feel. And a lot of people hypothesize now that, like, the idea of heaven and hell and demons and angels and God are all just other dimensions, and they could be possibly extraterrestrial in origin or ultra-terrestrial in origin. Like, who knows? Like, it's just, I mean, the belief that I was brought up on of, oh, if you die, you go to heaven and your spirit floats up to the sky. And I mean, my grandmother used to tell me, like, when the sun would come through a cloud, like, oh, that's heaven up there. And I was like, as a kid, of course, I believed it, because I was like, why wouldn't I believe it as a kid? But now I look back on it and I just laugh, and I'm like, oh God, why did I believe that?
Well, look how the beliefs have changed. I mean, hundreds of years ago, they thought that the sun rotated around the earth, or they thought the earth was just on the back of a turtle. I mean, people have evolved, and we've gotten, but now the scientists are very much in agreement that there was, whether you want to call it a big bang or a giant sneeze or whatever you want to call it, but this all had to start somewhere. And that was, and in my mind, my understanding is that, it's, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of universes out there. There's no end to what we know, how big everything is, creation, whatever you want to call it. There's no end to it. So something smarter than us made that happen. And that, my understanding, is source, whatever was there before we were. See, we're human. We got this little tiny brain, and we think that everything is like us. We think that because we're born and we die, everything does. Well, that's not necessarily true. That's what eternity is about. And it's only been the last couple of years that I've even entertained the thought that terrestrials, if we all reincarnate, they had to come from the same source we did. So they're just souls like us that chose to incarnate in different universes. I mean, they are us. We are them. We just look different, that's all, or have different cultures. But we all have souls. I love that. How fun is that? I mean,
I like the idea of it. I do. I mean, whether we all have souls, I don't know if I agree on that part. But I mean, it's just, I mean, I've heard too many stories about reptilians to believe they have souls. But that's just me personally. But I mean,
soul is life force. Okay, the life force. When your body doesn't work anymore, your body is dead. But the life force that caused you to have a personality has to go somewhere. It doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think about them, but I've had a couple past life regressionists on this show before, and I was supposed to get a reading done for it like 6 months ago, and she got busy with family stuff, and I never reached back out. I really got to reach back out. Because that fascinates me, like the idea of past lives.
To remember that. Yeah, that is fascinating.
Just to find out
and it was It was trippy. Yeah, I was an alien once. I was in a spaceship going around the Earth because there's lots of them that just keep an eye on Earth, and I was one of those persons in entities in one of the spaceships, and it was my job to keep an eye on my orbit. You know, my dad was in the Navy, and he was a pilot, and he saw a flying saucer, and a big one. Actually, it was 3 of them. They were in together in formation, and he got back. He was scared to death because of, like, the month before, somebody had reported that one of the other pilots, and his plane went down mysteriously and blew up. So they told the other pilots, if you see something like that, don't engage, be quiet. We don't want to know about it. So when he got back, he said, I saw 3 flying saucers. They said, no, you did not. And if you say this to anybody else, you will be kicked out of the armed forces. So they've been hiding this stuff for years.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, since Roswell, at least, if not before that. I mean,
before, I'm sure.
I mean, I am a big fan of the fact that our world is the way it is because extraterrestrials helped build it in ancient times.
I think so, too. I watch Gaia all the time. You know, I believe that stuff. Sure. It's just too much of a coincidence that the Incas and the Egyptians and all these people had exactly the same, I don't know. I believe
structures. Yeah. I mean,
I believe it.
And the fact that cavemen painted flying saucers on cave walls when they would have no inkling to know what the heck they're talking about in any degree with that, like, or not even talking, just making sounds about, like, it's just, and actually, Josh, I do agree with this as well. We are the galaxy and energy. The unique part is we are given our own feelings and personality. That's the God Force, as Josh calls it.
I agree, Josh.
I agree to some degree on that. I mean, I don't know what I mean. That's the biggest. When you run a paranormal show, you hear so many different theories and so many different beliefs. It's all constantly swirling around your head, and it's like you don't know what to think of it all. It's just
I mean, that's because we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be clouded down here. Otherwise, it would defeat the whole purpose of coming down here if we knew everything. I mean, it would be cheating. So if you're going to come down and learn stuff, you don't want to. When you come down here, you get the mind wipe, okay? And you don't know the answers anymore. But you get on the other side, and it's like, oh yeah.
I don't think you get the mind wipe right away. I'm a big fan of the fact that until you're 2 or 3, you remember everything, and that's why babies are so hard to deal with a lot of times, because they're seeing things we can't see, they're dealing with things we can't deal with, and
you know, like they have the imaginary friend, right, that they're sharing their food with and stuff. That's, you know, they're still seeing spirits.
Yep, and spirits, or who knows what they're really seeing. They could be seeing beings from other planets that are there but are not in our dimension, and they're not visible to us, but they're visible to them. Like, it's just, who knows?
Yeah, well, we have to teach them about our reality. You know, we have to teach them that don't touch that, it's hot, or don't do this, don't do that. And then they believe it too. They fall in line, and that's how you become a human. You learn to become a human. But I agree with you that I think they bring a lot of their knowledge in, and it has to, I think that's part of the reason they can't talk. Is, you know, some of them, when they get a little bit older, will say that thing about, you know, my little friend here, and it's usually, you know, an angel or something. I'm open-minded now. I used to have, you know, when I was taught it's this, and this, and you step outside that line, you're wrong, you're going to hell. So it takes a long time to peel those layers off and say, that is bullshit. I'm not believing that anymore.
Exactly. And let me ask you this, though. Since you came back, are you afraid to die again, or no,
that little bit of human in me that says, oh no, you know, wonder if I have to go through this again. But the 99% says, no, I can't wait to get home. I'm homesick. I mean, there are times where I think, oh my God, it's already been 23. How much longer do I have to stay here? I just want to go home. And that's what it is. You get over there and oh man, it's just home. It's home. And that's why my book is Misfit in Hell. the demons kept telling me to do stuff and I kept balking at it. And then because we're all heaven expats, an expatriate, somebody that lives in one country, they go to another country and do some work, like dig oil wells or something, and then they come back home. But while they're gone, they're expats. And we're all heaven expats. We all start off in heaven. We come down here. We do our work. It's tough. We go home. Anybody you talk to who's been on the other side, they always say that. It's home.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally the feeling I've gotten from anybody I talked to who had an NDE. It's just like the guy who debated with the figure in the doorway for 3 days, or well, to him, what felt like 3 days, but really it was like I think a week or something like that. But he kept saying he fought actually. He said, "I want to stay here. There's things I haven't accomplished yet," but he said like the feeling on the other side of that door, like it was very convincing and drawing to him, and he wanted to go towards it, but he knew his life up to that point was sad, and he wanted to go live a better life and do better for his children. So
yeah, mostly people go back only because of children. They either a lady died in labor or something, and she says, "No, I got to go back and take care of my kids." The rest of us all say, "I want to stay, man. Don't send me back."
I don't know if you've ever seen Shameless, but he literally compared himself to Frank Gallagher on Shameless, like the way his life was up until the point where he died. And that's why he wanted to come back, because he had 6, 7 kids, something like that. And he was a drug addict and alcoholic, big businessman for all their lives, and he barely spent any time with them. And he wanted to come back and do better. And now he's a life coach who helps thousands of people yearly.
Wow.
So Kellen Fluckiger, it's a very unique name.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of him. He's pretty big on podcasts and other places in the world, but he's very religious now, but he's just he's a interesting man. But a good man. He's a very good man now. And but I don't know. To me, it's, I don't know. Part of me almost wants to have an NDE just so I can see something, I can experience it.
You can do meditation. You can get into some meditations, and there's some spiritual practices. You might want to get some people on the show about that.
I've had them
teach you to astral projection. I mean, I've tried that stuff. I can't get anything to work, but
exactly.
I don't think I can train my mind to just to do that stuff. I'm always thinking about other stuff, but a lot of people have those out of body experiences, or they have that place between when you're going to sleep and waking up where you can astral project, or lucid dreams is another one. I've had a couple lucid dreams. Those are fun. Do you ever have the dream that you're flying?
Never
like
did.
Superman?
Never did.
I didn't. My dad and I used to have those dreams, not very often, but we both did. And I thought, well, maybe it's just some quirk in our, but then I heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, and a lucid dream would be one where you would be flying." And I thought, "Oh, dude, I had a lucid dream. How cool!" But I can't make it happen. It like happens every 10 years or something, but it's so cool. I can fly. I can never get up but a foot off the ground. And I always am trying to find a cliff so I could get a little updraft like the birds do. And it's so much fun. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can get into.
I'm the same though. Like I've tried meditation, like it's just like my mind's always too busy. Like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this. Like I run 2 podcasts and I'm constantly on others, and it's just like there's too much in between the kids and the dogs and the wife. It's just like,
gosh, yeah,
always something moving. Like I'm always moving doing something. But
yeah.
And Josh said that in his NDE in 2019, his brother refused his entry because he passed 18 months prior and said, "Mom needs you."
Oh, okay.
And he added into that, "I love her." So yeah,
love will bring you back. But but that's another cool thing about heaven is and we're all spirit. So all your pets are up there. That's anything you've loved is going to be up there.
My guinea pig Bart's going to be up there. Yes.
I got dogs. This one lady I met, she had raised dogs. That was what she was breeder, and she had all these dogs she loved. And when she went over, she said she found herself on the beach, and I cry every time I think of this. And she saw on the way in the distance in the trees this like black something moving, and it was heading toward her, and she started getting frightened. But then she thought, oh my God, those were all her dogs that she had raised and passed away all these years. And she was just surrounded, by like 30 dogs, and they were all so happy to see her. And she started to take them down the beach and walk with them, and she was called back. And oh man, she said she was so mad because but at least she knew that the dogs were waiting for her. That was cool.
Well, as someone who owns Mastiffs now, I will gladly
Ooh.
love that, because I hope when they finally, I mean, they're puppies still, but I dread the day in 10 years or so when they pass. And
yeah,
I mean, we'll have their puppies by then, but still, it's just going to be not the same. Like,
yeah,
they're the two original ones.
Their spirits will stay with you. And my golden retriever grand dog, I mean, I just feel him. Whenever I talk to him, I just feel the comfort of him. I mean, I give him a hug, it's, again, that's one of those perks of really knowing that that's real, that makes life so much lighter, so much easier. Takes a lot of the fear away. It's all good, and thinking you planned everything and it's all going to work out happily ever after. So again, not to get so messed up in your mind about everything being bad and going wrong. No, it's going the way it's supposed to. And now you've got choices. How are you going to deal with that? What are you learning from that?
See, that's why, like, I used to be like that. I used to always constantly worry, like, I have no money, my bills are late, and now it's just like, it'll all get straightened out in time. It'll all get straightened out in time. Just work, live your day-to-day life, do what you gotta do, and it'll all come together at some point. Like,
you're right. See, that's that manifestation thing too. It all works together. It's all good. We really don't need to be afraid. I mean, terrible things still happen, but it's all right. We're only here a blink of an eye, compared to eternity. This is just really a short gig, and we just
it is. I mean,
best. Just do your best.
And the span that eternity is 80 to 100 years is nothing.
No, right.
It's a speck of dust in the freaking
eye of eternity. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever they call those things with sand in that you turn over. I can't think of it right now, but
what?
What are they called? I can't think of it. Those things you turn over with sand on one side and it counts time. But
oh yeah, okay. Oh, now you got me doing it. I'll wake up about 3 o'clock in the morning and give you a call. It's not it's a shoot. You use it in a game when you want to say somebody's only got 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, it's a timer, but it's not the right
sort
word
of
for it.
a sand timer.
Yeah. Josh, help me out. Josh, help me out here, please. Just give me a name for it, because I don't have time to Google it right now. But,
I know. Okay, it's a
hourglass.
Isn't it terrible when you lose work? Hourglass! Yay, Debbie! Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. That would drove me nuts till like
no.
Like Kathy said, at 3 in the morning I would have woke up and been like, hourglass. Shit. Now I'm up for the day. But,
oh God, the older you get too, the more you forget stuff. It's just terrible.
I am famous on podcasts for forgetting the word I'm looking for at that time, and then as soon as the podcast is over, I'll be like, oh, that's what I was looking for. It's like,
edit it back in. Yeah. Oh, shoot.
And yes, Debbie, I appreciate it. Glad I could bring a little humor to this, but
oh, hey, we got to keep your sense of humor. That's the most valuable thing a human being has, I think, is a sense of humor. It just gets you through. You can get through just about anything. God's got a great sense of humor. Look around. I mean, it's
God. I mean, literally, oh God, yeah. I mean, it's just I mean, everything. I mean, it seems like since I was a kid, every other country but the United States is at war with each other. Like it just seems that way.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we're coming closer and closer to. I mean, we're we're
Don't
involved
say
in
that.
everything.
No, we're going to be positive. We're going to
We're positive. I mean,
continue to be peacemakers the best we
we
can.
are. I mean, well, okay, I wouldn't exactly call the United States peacemakers, but I mean, we're involved in
Compared
everything
to the
else.
rest of the world, I think Canada does a good job. You never hear about Canadians doing anything. They don't even think they have much of an air force or anything.
Oh my God, my co-host of my other paranormal show is a Canadian, and
Yeah.
I give her shit all the time making fun of
Why?
Canada. But oh my God, like, oh wow, yeah, Canada, God, they're still ruled by. I give her crap because they're still ruled by England. So yeah, you know.
Oh, that's true. Well, England thinks they rule Canada, and Canada just goes,
Yeah.
sure you do. Yeah, I'm in Washington State, so the Canadians are our neighbors, and we kind of joke about when you're going to Canada, are you going to speak Canadian? Yeah, 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 That's all they say that makes it different. You going out today, And speaking Canadian.
Right there, even like I always say to her, like, "Oh, did you go out in a boat today?"
Yeah, out in the boot. Yeah.
And she's always just like, "Shut up, Jeremy." But it's gotta love it, gotta love it. I mean,
yeah, I do. I love the Canadians. They're just nice.
They're good people. I've been to vacation. I've been on vacation up there when I was a kid and whatnot. I mean, when one of the stories that makes me like always think about it is 9/11, when like one of the planes, like one or two planes landed up in Canada because they needed somewhere to go. And like literally a whole Canadian town like welcomed strangers into their houses for like a week until like 9/11 got straightened out finally.
Wow.
So, I mean, I can never hate on Canada. I mean, as much as I watch South Park and they hate on Canada, I never could really hate Canada. Like it's just they're good people. They are. I mean, and some of my favorite TV shows are from Canada, so I can't hate them.
Yeah,
but
no, they're right up there. I want to go see Iceland too. That sounds like a fun place to go.
It's on my bucket list.
Is it? Yeah, I want to. You have to go in the summer. I've been looking into. You can't see probably the aurora borealis in the summer, but it looks beautiful. I was watching one of those travel things, and I thought, oh, I got to see that. Oh man, and the volcanoes and the hot springs, and it'd be like a different planet, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I really think it would be. That's on my bucket list as well as exactly, Josh. Greenland too.
Greenland?
I want to go. I mean, it's cold there. I don't know if I want to go there, but it's. I mean, but I mean, Antarctica's my bucket list too because I want to see if the government really has secret facilities there that we can't go to because extraterrestrials and possibly dinosaurs are there. So who knows? But that's my belief.
Okay.
There's a reason. There's a reason you have to get permission to go to Antarctica by the government.
Okay.
By the UN, not even by the government, by the UN. You need to have permission from the UN to go to Antarctica. But I mean, that and a lot of countries in Europe and Asia and Africa are on my bucket list. When the kids are older, I'll travel. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay for me and my wife to go places than 4 of us to go places. But
yeah. Oh yeah, when the kids are little, once they're gone, they're gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this though. I'm kind of curious about this now because I mean, what do you think of like the way since your views of religion changed since all this happened? What do you think of the Vatican? Like the Vatican City?
You're trying to get me excommunicated. I don't judge. I try not to judge anything anymore. That's been around a long time, and I don't consider myself an active Catholic anymore. And it's hard enough dealing with my mom and my sister around this. I don't want to get involved with the Vatican. Thank you very much for asking.
I mean, as much as I doubt they're watching my show, but I always say, I'm gonna say this and I'll leave it at that. But I always say, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I am going to the Vatican, going to their basement and reading what's in their library because that's my goal.
Oh yeah, I bet they got some great books down there.
Their library is miles long, and it holds
Wow.
secrets of humanity that have long been hidden.
Yeah.
Anything you want to know about cryptids or aliens, it's down there. I
You
guarantee it.
think so? They didn't have people writing about that stuff back then, did they? On,
I'm pretty sure.
parchment with a, the ink pen and the whole thing. I mean, that would be laborious.
I'm pretty sure the extraterrestrials have been to Vatican City since the beginning of time. Since it was made, I'm pretty sure at least.
You mean
Or
that
I mean,
extraterrestrials brought their own books and put them in the library?
possible, very possible. I mean, and yes, Josh, lots of money and expensive stuff is there probably in that basement
Oh
too. So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, they've been taking money from innocent people for hundreds and thousands of years. The Catholics have, so
Hundreds
they
of
probably have a.
thousands of years. No,
Well, no, not.
I don't
I
think
said
so.
hundreds. And,
2000 at the, well, probably. I think that was technically at like a church in the year 1500. So we're talking maybe 500 years.
I said hundreds of years, and then I moved it to thousands.
Okay.
But I mean,
then there's dinosaurs down there too, right? Maybe just dinosaur bones. I don't
doubt me. I don't doubt it. I don't.
You know what? When you get on the other side, you can find out.
I
You'll
seriously
know
don't think you can.
everything. They've got a huge, talk about libraries. People that come back that have seen the libraries. I mean, as far as you can see, you can learn anything. And you just look at it, sucks right into it. There's plenty to do in heaven. That's what I think is going to be fun. I always thought, if I had to go up there and just sing songs all day long, I'll be bored out of my mind. So the fact that there's all this stuff to learn and do, yeah. And then you say, oh, all right. And now me and my pals are going to go incarnate on Mars or someplace and see what it's like to be a, or Pleiadian or whatever those people are, or a big gray or a
Pleiadians,
green, or Pleiades, those people.
Pleiadians, which are actually very different from grays. They are. It's hard to describe them.
I've been watching Gaia. I'm trying to read up on it because I'm thinking seriously about reincarnating as an alien.
What is Gaia? You said that a couple times down. I'm kind of curious.
GAIA. It's a.
Oh, I know the term, but I'm like, is it a show?
They have. Oh yeah, they have all kinds of wild shows about. Yeah, you look it up, Google it, dude. When we get off.
Oh,
GAIA, and it's videos, all kinds of videos.
Is it a streaming platform or is it a YouTube channel?
Yeah. I think I pay $12 a month, something like
that. Oh, okay. Right? All right. I'll look into it.
It's got everything about aliens, everything about ancient civilizations. I mean, you'd go nuts. It's fun. You just kind of have to tear yourself away and say, I'm going to bed now. Okay. Turn that off. I'm going to bed now. It's
interesting.
Really fascinating. I love it. It's great.
I have a lot of movies to watch for a podcast in the next month, but after that, I might check into it.
Oh, do. Yeah. You'll just try and, get online and they'll show you some, shortened trailers and stuff like that. You'll get
I'm sure.
Hooked.
I'm sure. And yes, Josh, I agree. Kathy has been a fantastic guest, and it's been
thanks.
A very fun episode. But I'm gonna wrap it up by asking one simple question, though, even though she kind of
simple, sure.
She already kind of answered it, but what would be your final advice to someone who wants to live a more peaceful life and not worry about what comes next? Like, what would be your ultimate advice to them?
The ultimate advice that was given to me, and I'll reiterate it: be loving, kind, merciful, forgiving, encouraging, grateful, non-judgmental, and useful. That's all you got to do.
I think the key there is be useful too, because I mean,
useful's good. Useful's what you're doing right now.
And I meet a lot of human beings that are not useful. So I mean,
I know, useful, and that means do something for outside yourself, something for others that's beneficial. And little things are good. Little things are good. In Life Review, they said they're like the sparkles on there. Just little things. Holding a door for somebody when they got their hands full of stuff, or picking something up when an old lady drops it. I mean, little tiny nice things. Somebody cut you off in traffic, just let it go. You know, that
smile and shake your head and move on.
Yep. And keep your hands on the wheel. Yes.
Oh,
nope,
I mean,
nope.
I would hope. I would hope. But I mean, yeah. See, as someone who worked in retail for the last 3 years, I have helped enough short people reach things in top shelves. So
good.
I'm useful.
You're being useful. Yeah, and a smile and a thank you or have a nice day. Any of that stuff. You know, you see somebody like somebody at Safeway and they're bagging stuff and they're, you know, and you just say, hey, how's it going? And they just stop like, oh, I'm seen. I'm a human being. I've got worth. You know, it's little things. Do lots of little ones.
Yeah, I mean, do what I do, folks. Joke with everybody. I make jokes with everybody I freaking meet because it makes everybody feel like they're important. And that's this thing in life. Like, if I could stop someone from trying to off themselves that night, that's the greatest thing I could do in life. So
you're right. You're on the right track, Jeremy. You're doing good.
I try. Yes, my wife, she may disagree, but I tried.
You picked her. You guys picked each other.
We did, for better or worse. Or
right, so you got to figure out why. I like this. You will never watch Netflix again. Yes, once you get into Gaia.
Oh, is it an Amazon subscription thing? Because I think I've seen it.
No,
I think I have. No,
this guy stands alone, and
I'm gonna have to look up my
science stuff. Oh man, it's just. If you could have, if that would be school, you know, that you learn all that stuff the way they teach it, kids would really learn a lot.
Well, I mean, my kids already do learn a lot though, and I mean, I am actually very proud of the school system in the town I live in because they.
Oh, good.
When we moved here, my stepson was in 2nd grade, and like he went to his first day of school here after spending a month and a half in school in where they lived previously. And he's like, this first day, we're like, how was school? Did you learn some stuff? He's like, I learned so much today. And like, he never said that before.
Oh, how wonderful. So, that's a blessing.
I mean, yeah. And they're both, I mean, my daughter has changed so much since she started kindergarten here. It's ridiculous. Like, she sings her ABCs every day now, like nonstop.
Kindergarten? Wow. Good for her.
It gets to the point where it's like, oh God, shoot me, she's singing it again.
Tell her to sing it backwards. Just, you know, challenge her.
Yeah. Well, Kathy.
Okay.
Tell them about
wrap it up.
Tell them the title of your book and tell them where they can find it.
Okay, it's called Misfit in Hell to Heaven Expat. I know that's long, but the voices told me to do that. And it's on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or anywhere you want. And it's also like an audible book, and it's a CD, and it's a Kindle, and the cheapest is probably the Kindle. And I think you'll like it because there's a lot of sense of humor in there. It's some serious stuff, but it's pretty light and kind of crazy.
CDs still exist?
I know. It cost me a fortune. He said, why are you making a CD? No, I said, well, there might be one person that really wants a CD. Why not?
I guess CDs still exist. I didn't even think of that possibility, but okay.
Well, MP3, that's different too, isn't it?
Oh, that's just, I mean, MP3 is what they use on Audible and whatnot, but.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I mean,
they said, you want to do it? I said, sure. I'm going to go in. I'm in for all of it. Sign me up.
And Josh, you have a beautiful night as well. And maybe we get her back. We'll see. It's definitely possible.
If we pre-planned it, it will happen.
And Josh, you just manifested that in the universe. So it could happen now. Who knows? 100%.
Nice to meet you, Josh. You're a good sport.
Josh is a very faithful Parapost listener, and I love having him around because he says very insightful things and asks very important questions to people. And hello from Canada, Melissa. You're catching the end of the show.
All right.
Sorry. Oh, you missed the part where I was making fun of Canada a little bit, but okay.
She's gonna rewind it.
Oh, she can start over. But so please, folks, go check out Kathy's book. I know I'm going to. For God's sake, I'm going to check it out because It's gonna be add on to the huge. It's gonna be add on to the huge pile that's growing in my living room of people who share my show that I buy their book just because I want to read it. And someday, if I ever take a vacation, I mean, I've been unemployed for a month, but video games kind of got in the way of that
Oh, I
podcast
know.
stuff. But
It's very tempting.
and applying for jobs hours a day,
Of
but
course.
and getting scammed by jobs because in this day and age everything's a scam. But
Can
never
be.
thought I'd see the never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd see the day where trying to apply for jobs you get scammed. I never thought I would see that day. It's sad. It's
It is
freaking sad.
Well, they're going to get that in their life review, so don't worry about it.
Oh, I hope they go to eternal misery and whatever they believe hell is. But as all my listeners know, you can always find us on Paranormal Normal / Maniacal Music Musings podcast with the S group on Facebook, on Twitter and the Gram as @Juggalo and on TikTok as @Juggalo Podcast, as well as on YouTube where, well, one May places this is streaming as Paranormal Normal. And I will be back tomorrow with another interview with J.J. Johnson from Southern Demonology. I know we're flipping topics.
Oh, he's cool.
Tomorrow.
I was on his show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Say hi for me.
Oh, I will definitely bring you up tomorrow then. But,
okay. Thanks a lot, Jeremy. It's been fun.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. It's been a fun show. And an hour flew by. Didn't realize it's been that long even.
Yeah. I got to go eat my dinner, man.
Same. But thank you all for watching, and thank you to all my listeners who will be listening to this. I will see you all and all my listeners in half a week. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
And thank you, Kathy, one more time.
Okay.